And we're live. What's up, everybody? This is going to be our first little collab show with Gary Williams, Stole My Lawn Furniture Show, and Pigtown Sports. We've done a couple of them, but I think we're going to start doing this once a week for baseball season, Zach. If you're in for that.
Yep, as long as the dreadful kids allow it. Not dreadful. I shouldn't say dreadful.
Yeah. But we all know the nighttime routine is exhausting at times. That's for sure.
I've just been screamed at for the last 2 hours.
Yeah, so it'll be we'll have a lot more to talk about when baseball season rolls around. But wanted to hop on here and kind of put this out into the world and let people know this is what we're trying to do. So we're gonna kind of go over. We had an Orioles update show today, which we didn't really get too in depth with. So Pigtown and I we're going to hop on here and just kind of shoot the shit over the Orioles here for the next hour or so. And the other boys have some prior engagements. They'll be on here in the future. But yeah, we're just going to hop on here and kind of just go through what's going on lately around the league and with the O's. So Pigtown, I know you probably got numbers working over there. What are you looking at right now?
I'm just mainly like looking at the 40-man, who got invited and stuff, and some of the guys that I've been interested in myself, just kind of peeking at them. The one that kind of interested me the most was a non-roster guy, Raul Alcantara. Looks like he spent a little bit of time in Double-A last year with Seattle, and eventually got released and then went down into the Mexican leagues and apparently threw the absolute hell out of the ball. He runs it up near 100. So he's a guy that we signed this winter pretty early on out of Mexico. And I'm kind of looking at a split. So he started in 2023, made 23 starts, and God, he got killed. He had a 6.35 ERA, but he had an 11.5 K through 9. Which is pretty damn good. But then last year was in the bullpen and had a 3.4 with a 9.8 K to 9 ratio. So that's a guy that I feel like, especially not even having too many quality lefties in the organization, that's a guy I'm going to keep an eye on, especially in this spring training.
Is he a lefty?
Yeah.
Am I looking?
He's a little guy too. He's about 6 foot 160.
All right, this is the wrong guy then. I got another Raul Alcantara from the A's, but he's like 6'4", 220 and right-handed. So that's not
I think he's a different one. I think it's a pretty interesting roster going down to spring training, and you and I were just kind of talking about this prior to the show going live here, and there's like a ridiculous amount of competition. And I don't think a lot of people realize it. Like, yeah, we're all kind of expecting the regulars to kind of do their thing, but like, look at the competition for either starting right fielder and or the fourth outfielder when you have like Kjerstad, Loreno, and Carlson.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler O'Neill's likely probably going to start somewhere, depending on who's pitching, whether he's going to be left field or right field. I think it's all going to come down to matchups for that. But you've got three. Look, you got one guy that was drafted second overall, but then you also have two former top prospects, like not just like organization top prospects, like top 100 prospects that all sometimes it takes is one coach to figure it out for you. Like we just saw with Jurickson Profar last year. Mm-hmm. And you've got three legitimate talents fighting for one spot on this team and for at-bats. I mean, granted, if two of them make it, you're fighting for at-bats. And what kind of puts Kjerstad at a slight disadvantage, and him and Carlson are the same age, and Carlson has 5 years experience on him. So, I mean, if he figures it out quicker, that's that might not go well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking Mullins and Laureano, or however you say his last name. I mean, Mullins might not have a job next year if these stats kind of hold true.
Loreno's good. He's very underrated. And I was actually talking to one of his former high school teammates. He just randomly found one of my YouTube videos about him, and he was saying that something that the A's did screwed him up mechanically, and Cleveland kind of stayed with it. But when he got to Atlanta last year, Atlanta picked right up on it, fixed it, and that's when he started hitting good. So if this is something that he might have figured out towards the end of the last year, granted, he's not going to get a ton of at-bats early on. I mean, maybe against lefties, but if that's a guy you get going, like that makes a few guys in the outfield expendable.
It's crowded out there, man. And we were kind of talking like it's either they're bringing in a bunch of these guys and like saying, "Hey, go win a spot," and competition creates a lot of good things, right? But if all these guys are playing pretty well and they're making their life a little harder to make a decision, then makes it the decision to make a trade a little bit easier. I just don't know who you're going to be going after at this point in time.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a starter. I just don't think it's a starter. I really don't.
No, not this late, because teams are going to ask for everything. And, just like us last year, teams are going to get down to spring training. Somebody's going to get hurt on day 1 or day 5. And, these starters are going to basically be off the board here pretty quickly. Now, if Jordan Montgomery shows up and has a blow up with the owner, on day 6, that might be an option. But I mean, I don't see Pittsburgh trading Jones or Keller at this point.
I love them too, but why would they?
Could maybe Detroit move Reese Olson? Maybe. I mean, I doubt it, but I mean, you got to make room for Job. There's very minimal things I see moving from this point forward outside of the bullpen. Plenty of teams move bullpen pieces around this time of the year, but starters, when guys are starting to come in, because some teams are already there. A lot of injured guys are there. Now when you're finding out if the guy that you rehabbed all offseason still isn't ready, like now's when you're starting to find out within the next 3 days. You're not trading guys at that point. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm content. I know I'm probably in the minority here, but I'm content with our starting rotation. I mean, do I think it's blowing doors off people? No. But I think it's a very solid rotation that I'm just going to ask, go get me 5 innings every night. That's all I need out of you. Get me 5 innings. Here and there, Eflin and Grayson can go get me 6 or 7, and that's going to win a lot of baseball games, in my opinion, with this offense. If they continue to put up 4.9, 5-point runs a game, like you're going to win a lot of baseball games here.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, we just kind of remember we got the sour taste in our mouth because it's top of mind of the second half last year, hitting wise. And they're like, and everyone's kind of freaking out like, hey, we need to get pitching in because we can't freaking hit. Well, we can. Injuries played a huge part in that. People's confidence, their heads probably weren't right, whatever it was. Like, we're not going to see that was real fluky.
Yeah.
That whole second half of the season, really, and injuries for the entire year was super fluky. So between us kind of starting getting back into our old ways and the guys that didn't play the way that they usually do, having that second half that they did, i.e. Rutschman and I mean most of the team, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just they'll start getting back into their old ways, and then I think people should start making progress. There's no way that you're going to tell me that what's his face Holiday is going to play the way he has like that the rest of his career. There's just no way. He's going to make some kind of adjustment. Joe, 108 games. I love
be impressive.
Oh, look what we got. We do have a rogue Huckleberry in here. What's up, dude?
What up, guys?
What's going on? I like pigs.
I figured I had to do my due diligence, come in and say hi to you guys, because this is really cool, a little collaboration. So,
Yeah, we were telling everybody beforehand we're going to try to do this once a week during the season. We're not going to have a whole lot to talk about right now. We're just kind of shoot the shit for a little while, but during the season, obviously, once a week, we're going to have a whole week's worth of stuff to go through and stuff that we're going to forget about. Like
Okay.
if we do this on Wednesday
I don't know how
nights,
well my audio is going through because I'm just doing this from my phone.
you're good.
It's good enough.
I don't know how much we're going to remember from like if we do this Wednesday nights or something like that, and then Thursday and Friday are like crazy games. By the time Wednesday rolls back around, we're going to forget that even happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like that little shared notes thing that you have. I think that'll help a lot.
Yeah, at least put stuff down.
I'll be back. I'll be back, boys. I'll be back.
All right, see you, buddy.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, the only real concern that I have is not having a dedicated lefty. If they want to really be spicy and put Povich as the 5 and really see what he has, again, I'm comfortable with that at this point. He showed me enough in September. And look, and I know September can make fools out of people, and I know April can make fools out of people. I understand it. He showed me enough to give him 5, 6, 7 starts, just to see what he's got. Like, did he make that adjustment? Did he turn that corner? I mean, for him being at 24 years old, like, and basically the only real lefty that you have in the entire organization, your next best one being Trevor Rogers, like, maybe Keegan Aiken would be your next best left-handed starter. Like that's at the point we're at. And that's probably my only concern is, I mean, can righties get guys out too? Yeah. But I mean, I want a little bit of lefties in here. And, I mean, maybe they really try to swing a Pablo Lopez deal, very last minute, to get a quality lefty in here. And I would slot him. Ideally, I would still let Grayson. Grayson's going to be my number 1 all year, in my opinion. Pablo Lopez slots perfectly right behind him. And then you have Eflin as a 3. You leave him where he's really comfortable, matches up well against a lot of other pitchers. That would be a freaking outstanding rotation, in my opinion. I mean, could Pablo be an ace? Sure, could. He's could be doing it in Minnesota right now, and he's doing an okay job. But I mean, this is Grayson's team, in my opinion, and let him ride the bull there.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the fact that they didn't go out. I mean, I have to believe that they were probably getting pretty close with the Padres and making a deal there. But I just don't think it's come to fruition yet. And I don't even know if they're still in talks at this point because that's all kind of died off at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of regular season and it's going to be nice to get the first month or so just to figure out what these guys are. I mean, the first month is going to be a feeling out period.
Yep.
You're very rarely are you going to play yourself out of the playoffs in the first month.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
Unless you have historically bad start. There's not many
lefties.
I mean,
just on the team
Haney's
in general.
Still out there?
Who?
Haney's still out there? I mean,
I would love Heaney. I mean, this fan base
him.
This fan base would lose their mind if the Orioles sign Heaney. Lose it. They would lose it.
Why?
They wouldn't look at what he provided in a ballpark like ours, but they would I think they would just find it'd be done, in my opinion. Most people.
A lot of them are right now. I mean, his ERA last year is 4.28. I mean, everybody loved Gibson, right? That's better than what Gibson was. What Gibby was while he was here starting for that whole season and, I mean, eating up innings.
When I looked at him last year, let me pull back up again so I'm not spitting out
fastball average is like 91.8. I'm not on.
So when I looked at him last year, so Texas actually has a very identical ballpark to us.
So the new dimensions.
Yeah. Except Globe Life Field. Okay, so let me pull up. Let me see. Where's Camden Yards? Of course, you don't have it. Come on, where's Globe Life? Because when I looked at it, I was like, holy crap, like this guy had a pretty decent season. And fuck it, let's just put his career in there. So 39 games career at Globe Life and Camden Yards. He's got a 4.05. Now that's old days, but let's just do 23 and 24. So 36 games between those two stadiums in the last two seasons. He's got a 3.7 ERA with a 2.25 average and only giving up 22 home runs. Like, when I say this fan base would lose their mind, but when you look at stats like that at a ballpark that is nearly identical to what our left field is going to be, and you're not giving up that many home runs, like that's what, less than 3/4 of a home run a game? You know, that, and he shoves it every time he comes and plays us. That's a guy that would give you quality starts in Camden Yards, and I don't think our fan base even cares. Because it's just not a big enough name for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're all hell bent on big enough names, because I see people posting stuff like they're in the entire offseason what we've done. And it's like, man, you can't sit here and say, like, just because it's not a big name guy that you've never heard of, that these guys are not quality players.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrew Heaney, his walk rate is 83rd percentile in the league. I mean,
so just last year, 16 starts, right? At these two stadiums, 16 starts, 3.5 ERA, 11 home runs, 20 walks to 94 strikeouts in 81 innings.
Take that
with
all
a
day.
2.01 average. You can't tell me that wouldn't play very good in our rotation, especially at a 4 or 5.
He's in the 70% chase rate.
Yeah.
I mean, this
355 slugging against him.
See if I can get a pitch.
0.99 whip. Like, that's better. You're talking about like a step below Corbin Burns at that point. Just in those two stadiums. I realize when he leaves those two stadiums, it's not the greatest. I understand that. But primarily, most of your starts were going to come at home anyway. Texas also being another powerhouse in the AL this year. My favorite to win the AL, personally. Why wouldn't you do that? But I also have another theory about that too. We can get into that in a couple of minutes.
I'm trying to see what his...
I like British Ravens comment. Yes, you're 100% correct.
What do you say?
This fan base loses their mind if it's not a top line starter.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not Dylan Cease, if it's not... Christ, who knows?
I think Pablo Lopez, I think people would be okay with. Jared Jones, obviously. There's not too many other guys. Michael King, I mean, nobody would care. I don't know.
I mean, he's got a pretty nasty little slurve.
Heaney's good.
Does. Yeah.
When he left LA, he got a lot better.
And changeup. That change was pretty filthy.
Yeah. People just don't give him enough credit.
Steve wins 15 games this year. Sugano is what he was talking about. We call him Steve. Steve Sugano.
Oh.
I don't know why. It's just easier than his real name.
I'm a big Sugano fan too, but I think he ends up in the bullpen.
I think he's
for right now.
I think they want him to start. Because I just don't see
just too much
$13 million. Yeah. I don't see you pay unless he has an incredible spring and then just keep riding him. But he could be one of those guys like last year. Big Al. It could be somebody like that who's going to spot start and go back and forth.
That was a mistake start in spring training when he threw that. Was it a perfect or a no hitter through 6? I think it was a no hitter. He wasn't even supposed to pitch that day. Like that's just how Big Al's season went. Like he did it in Grayson when Grayson got hurt. Like
he wasn't even there. Was he there in spring training last year?
He was, but he was supposed to be in the bullpen, and something happened, and the guy didn't travel, and they were like, "Okay, we just start against the Phillies." And like I remember seeing, I'm like, "Who the hell is Albert Suarez?" And then he goes and throws a no hitter through 6 innings.
I mean, the guy still throws I mean, you give him just bullpen appearances. He's still going to run it up to 97, 98.
He hits his spots. That's why he's hard to hit. And that's why I think Sagano is going to be pretty good too. You don't have to throw 100. It helps. Throwing 100 helps, but if you can dot 91, 92 on the outer half on the upper side of the, to a righty, they can't hit that. They can try to foul it off.
He has to. He's not a stuff guy.
No. But
you're not a stuff guy.
You're damn right. Damn right I'm not.
I wanted to pop on to say hi to you guys. This is awesome. I think this should be something fun we do over the course of the next season. So, Zach, how you doing? I know you lost your pup.
Yeah, man, doing all right.
Go. So, hanging in there.
Yeah, we're doing all right. Kids make it harder than anything. They come down and start asking questions and drawing pictures, and you're like, "Oh, come on, man."
Yeah, trying to not think about this right now.
Right.
Yeah. Well, at least baseball season's coming up. Will give you a little bit of reprieve from having to think about stuff like that.
For sure. Sure.
How's the merch going? Because his hats look fantastic.
Dude, I was telling Brooks about it. I just found a random account on Instagram. I don't even remember what they're called at this point. And I put my logo in there, and it came like next day. And I was like, okay. Let me see if I can find them. I tag Safari Sun.
Yeah, I almost did one of our orders through them too.
Yeah. Yeah, it came right out of Florida. It wasn't here next day, obviously, but it was like I think 2 days.
Yeah, I think they're like one of the biggest companies out there doing some merch stuff. From what
Are they big? I had no idea.
What I've gathered, at least, because they had the fastest turnaround time on like all their hat stuff.
Yeah, they just had the best website. Like, just being able to navigate it, like put my logo in, like see it real time. Because other ones, it was like, okay, upload your logo, put what you want on there, and then it was like
then we'll send you an email.
Well, this one like had like a legit UI where I could like see it and I can make changes because like. When I put it in, it was real short, and it like let me expand it to it filled the whole thing, and I was like, I'm buying from these guys.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like was the $12 shipping because I'm cheap.
Yeah, I feel like I remember them being a little bit more expensive too, and that's why I went with somebody else.
I think it was $53 for this hat after shipping, which is a little ridiculous, but I was buying it one time.
Oh.
Yeah. It was like $37 for a custom hat or something like that. Well, for this particular model was $37. If you don't get the leather patch, it's like $31. So it could be cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some for English people. That is true. Yeah, I shouldn't complain too much.
We got some new merch coming here soon that Brian's getting together.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, I'm going to be short-lived, short and sweet. I got a 50-person birthday party upstairs, and I can already hear them stomping on the ceiling. But I wanted to pop in and say hi and talk to Zach. I haven't had a chance to talk to you in a little while, man. Hope you're doing well and the family's doing well.
Man.
I'll catch up with you a little bit later. But other than that, any heavy hitting topics you guys have had so far before I roll out?
No, we kind of got through. Oh man, my buddy's over at 5 Iron. Honestly, we're just kind of going through some pitching. Went through some outfield stuff right to begin with. Still kind of working our way through pitching at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if Pigtown had a chance to watch what we talked about earlier with all the outfielders and all that shit.
That's kind of what we went over to begin with. All the competition in the outfield at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even touch on Bradfield and Beavers and Fabian being brought to camp. I mean, they're no slouches.
No.
I wouldn't be shocked if Bradfield is on this team by August or September either.
I mean, you got to think that they think that he's just going to be a cheaper Mullins at this point.
From what I hear, several league executives think that he could have won a Gold Glove unanimously last year in the major leagues. So we're just waiting. And how long you can wait, it really all depends on Cedric Mullins. I mean, him in a contract year. What I don't want to happen is Cedric putting pressure on himself like Austin Hayes did and just not performing. Like, Cedric has a chance to come out and do what Santander did and have a really good season going into his free agency, but Bradfield going to be banging on that door. And so is Carlson and Loreno and Heston and Kauser. And a lot of competition in this org.
Yeah, it's log jammed out there, man. And I don't know if this is just to play, if this is just to bring some guys in to go play some matchups. And I really don't know. I don't know what the strategy is here.
They do love their
I mean-
matchups. I wouldn't be shocked to have a completely separate lineup against lefties and righties.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like Lorraine. A couple of these guys are the same guys, so you're gonna have to like platoon against lefties too.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like you're gonna play against half the games versus lefties, and you're gonna play the other half of the game, or they'll ride the hot hand. I would hope, but
Like Brooksy said, I don't know if you agree with this or not, Zach, but like what Brooksy said earlier today on our show was there's such a logjam now, and you can only have so many platoon guys.
Right.
I mean, there's got to be a move upcoming in whatever capacity that may be. Once again, agree or disagree, but the amount of position players, I mean, there's only so many spots on a 40-man roster. So,
Mhm. Yeah, and I was really surprised to even see if I can go back to it. Only 2 catchers on the 40-man. So that right there puts you at a problem if something happens to where you already have to cut somebody in season.
yeah.
I mean, now just in spring training. And I was really shocked to see Blake Hunt not even get a non-roster invite.
no, somebody picked him up.
Did we get rid of him?
He got
I got
designated.
to roll. I'll see you. I'll see you guys
See ya.
later. Have fun.
Yeah.
Do the show.
See you, man. Where did I see that? I wrote that down somewhere today.
Or did we trade him somewhere?
I wrote his name down today, and I can't remember what it was.
We
for.
traded him back to Seattle.
Yeah, and Pinto is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody claimed him, right?
Pinto designated claim by Arizona. Blake
Yeah.
Hunt was traded to Seattle for cash.
So we still have Maverick, who we drafted, Basayo, Benelos, and then Silas Ardone. Likely, if there was an injury, you would see Silas probably, just so you don't have to start somebody else's clock right away. And he's still a capable hitter and catcher and stuff, but yeah, it's just really, you don't see that too often. You just see it, but not too often. But I'm kind of looking at the non-rosters. I mean, pretty much our prospects are the only real big names. I mean, Nathan Webb, sure. Thaddeus Ward, sure. Carlos Tavera, I mean, yeah, maybe. I do remember Levi Stout. Why do I remember that name?
Yeah, that was. And I don't know if that's just like it sounds similar to Stowers, and it feels like we know who that is, but that name was like ringing a bell for me too.
See, he was with us last year.
Another news, big signing, Taron Vavra, minor league deal. Doesn't hurt.
I think he's still a year away, Joe. I think he's still got a little bit to learn. He got his feet wet in Bowie, did well. But, I mean, not being a top prospect, so to say. Plus, you don't have the room, you know. He'll get some opportunities though. Just because you don't get a roster invite doesn't mean so they'll come in some mornings and they'll have a list and say like they'll go down to minor league camp and say, hey, you're coming up today. You're coming up today. You're coming up today. And there's a lot of time it's on road games. They'll just bring some guys up. You know, Gunner may not feel like traveling that day. They'll bring a shortstop up. They'll play Jackson for a little bit at shortstop, and then the young kid will finish the last 4 innings or something like that. So. An invite makes you there every day, but they still bring guys up 1 day at a time, 2 days at a time. So you'll see Josenberger once or twice getting a bat in spring training in the big league level.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that they.
Yeah, they brought back Roansy Contreras, the guy that we claimed and then lost, and then they reclaimed him from the Yankees.
Yeah.
So they designated him for assignment. He'll probably make it through. Maybe the A's take him back. I don't know. He'll likely make it through. I'm pretty interested in this Roansy kid, though.
I don't know anything about him.
So in 2022, he was a starter for the Pirates, had a 3.79 as a 22-year-old with 95 innings. 2023, he got crushed and almost a 6.6 ERA. Moved to the bullpen, and then in 2024, wasn't perfect, but he got traded to the LA, the Angels, and pitched okay. He doesn't throw like 100. He sits like 93 to 95. You don't really want that in your bullpen, in my opinion. So I think we probably put him back in the lab. They're going to try and stuff him back through one more time and put him in the lab, see what they can do with him, and then probably put him in starting down in Norfolk. And a lot of this too, and look, I understand Orioles Twitter has feelings about certain things, but people kind of forget that Norfolk released like 13 players at the end of the season, maybe 14. They released almost half the roster. So you have to make a lot of minor league acquisitions to just refill that roster. And you want to do it with the best players possible. I mean, that's why we're seeing them go after certain players like Nick Gordon. I remember when everybody made a big stink about Nick Gordon. Like, you know, if there's an injury, like I would prefer Nick Gordon over, no offense, Le'Veon Soto. Like, that's just me. And I don't know, there's just little things that some people don't take into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, we got to remember last year we were using that taxi pretty heavily.
And they've done that since the Buck Showalter days. They love guys up and down. They love options.
Yeah,
and it helps keep people fresh.
Yeah, I don't disagree with it, but I mean, it's nice when you choose to use it, not when you have to use it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why last year Rivera was a nice little find after we were just like, who the hell is going to play third base at this point?
Right.
And he was DFA'd a couple days ago.
Did anybody claim him?
I don't think so. I didn't see.
He's a guy that I would like to keep in the organization. Nobody's claimed him yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I remember looking, he was like,
Roansy,
I think our best hitter against lefties with runners in scoring position, and we kind of let him go. But, I mean, it goes back to the competition thing. Does he give you every day at bats? I don't think he does.
Yeah, this Roansy guy looks not terrible.
Yeah. Rivera hit 368 against lefties last year. Now, granted, it was only in 23 at bats, but still. Here's what scares me just a little bit. So last year, the best hitter on the team, although through 16 at bats, Heston Kjerstad versus lefties, 375. Then you got Rivera, 368, no longer on the team. Adley Rutschman, 329, which is great. 328, Austin Hayes, no longer on the team. 306, Ryan Mountcastle. Half the fan base wants him gone. 295, Ramon Urias. Now, there becomes your biggest problem. What do you do with Ramon Urias?
Especially with Mateo coming back. But, I mean, Mateo's going to be limited to, well, not
In
really.
my opinion, you cut Jorge Mateo or you trade him. I know that's very harsh, and I know a lot of people love him and stuff, and I love his attitude and stuff like that. But
has he gotten did he get to spring training yet? Were we able to get an update on him yet from Elias?
I don't think he's supposed to start active roster. Apparently, he had Tommy John on the glove hand.
Yeah.
So he can't swing the bat 100% yet. But You really only keep the guy around for his speed. The glove isn't what it was in 2022. It fell off big time in 23 and 24.
Yeah.
We don't run. So
That's-
what's the point of keeping a guy that can run when you don't run?
That's something I want to talk to you about because I got into that today a little bit. And I mean, one of the reasons why we were so successful in 2023 was because we ran. I mean, we had movement on the bases, and we did it at the beginning of last year, and then it just went away. And I don't know if that's because injuries, and we were just like, you know what, we'd rather keep everybody fresh and healthy and not worry about potential injuries of running. Blah blah blah. I just don't see how you don't keep doing what's made you successful unless people were legitimately injured and felt like they would do more harm than good on the base path.
It's possible.
I just don't see it though.
I mean, you lost Westberg. You know, Kowser had fought through God knows how many injuries last year. I think Gunnar at one point had a shoulder injury, not like hurt, but like that nagging dead arm, so to say. You know it as a ball player, what it feels like. I don't know. It almost seems like Santander's limped every 5 seconds. You know, like Adley, they never said it, but he was hurt. Like, do you want him sliding? Like, they may have been just petrified at that point to just lose anyone else.
That's what I'm thinking. I was like, they must have just tabled it and said, you know what? I'd rather have you in the game than stealing bases. Yeah, and obviously Adley was hurt, probably dealing with some mental shit as well.
Yeah.
Definitely doing that. But I mean, the hand doesn't help either. Obviously, you put the stats out there 100 times, like it's obvious. He had to have,
and people still
there had to be a fracture in that hand somewhere.
Yeah. Did you hear his comments the other day at the caravan?
Nope, I didn't.
They
listen
asked him
to
about
his
what he sees in 2025, and he was like, to get healthy and stay healthy, like just be more obvious about it. I don't understand why the Orioles had to beat around the bush about it. Unless there was some way they could get in trouble through the league or something, which I don't think. I don't think it's like the NFL, but it was all odd in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
I do want to touch on a Deet comment here about Cesar King.
Can you pull it up?
I don't think I can. I've been trying.
Might need to give you admin. Can I do admin through here? No. All right, Deets. Where's that at? Is it on the Twitter side?
YouTube.
Oh, Deet. Sorry.
Yeah. So I don't think they trade anybody right now. And the main thing, and I've tried to say this about the Orioles, when they went through their sale, anytime you change paperwork, everything has to be perfect. Like that paper trail has to end somewhere, and from A to B has to be clean. You change over, even if it's just a brother, right? And everybody agrees that he's in control. Baseball still has to approve it. Nobody knows how long that's going to take. All the lawyers involved and stuff, they all still have to approve it. So while that goes on, you're not doing anything that could jeopardize any of this. You're not going to really move too many guys around. Now, they probably have already had things kind of planned out, in their paperwork, like, okay, we have this set amount. We might be able to sign this guy with this amount. But when you start like trading stuff, things get a little dicey. And I don't think now, until everything is approved, there ain't going to be a whole lot of roster moving around on the Padres.
I mean, not only that, they're going to get a whole lot more in return during the season than they are right now, probably. Especially with, like we said, injuries happening. And just historically, especially like trade deadlines. I mean, you guys remember last year's trade deadline. You're historically going to have to pay more. Just the way it is.
Yeah, can you imagine with last year being King's first year starting, if he comes back and doesn't do that great? Like maybe he only pitches like a 4 ERA. They'll be kicking themselves all over the place.
Yep. I mean, how many times has that happened? I feel like it feel like it happens quite a bit.
Yep. How does Pacoda only have us projected at 96? I think that's fair.
I think that's
I
a
mean,
fair.
I've been saying 90, 93 to 95 for a long time. I mean, look, everybody outside of Baltimore recognizes how good this baseball team is and how balanced 1 through 9 is and how balanced the starting rotation is. And we're probably just missing one dominant bullpen piece to go with everything else. Bullpen right now is still pretty decent. It could go bad. It could go really good. That's the only negative I would say this team has is just the bullpen. And I mean, everyone else seems to see it outside of Fangraphs for some reason. But like all the baseball analysts in all state, they all say the same thing. The Orioles are a damn good team. The only people that really have anything negative to say about it is our own fans.
Yeah.
I think this is a damn good baseball team, and I think they're going to surprise our own fans, and they're going to surprise a lot of people outside of Baltimore too.
I mean, and on the flip side of this too, like I know we're going back to last year again with the second half and how bad that was. I mean, and they still won 91 games. They would have easily won 100 games if they played 3/4 of what they're capable of. I mean, it's crazy. I think we're going to see a crazy jump. Like just to start the year, I think we're going to be like, oh shit, yeah, these are the Orioles we're used to seeing.
Yeah. Even last year, let me pull it up. Because I remember looking at this in the second half.
Over under 89.5. Where are you getting that at, Joe? Jump on that now.
That came out today from FanDuel, I believe.
I mean, I know that.
So last year, as abysmal as the second half was, we still had the 14th best offense in baseball. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy that we're pretty freaking spoiled.
And teams that we were better than in the second half, the Braves, the Mets, the Brewers.
The Braves had like historically bad second half too.
The Tigers, the Guardians, all those teams made the playoffs, and we had a better offense than in the second half. And it was abysmal. It was tough to watch. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and just the situational hitting was bad too. Everybody loves to, and I go on rants on Twitter about this too, about the approach, and what are they doing? It's like they're major league ball players. They know what the fucking situation is. It's not like they're not trying to do it. They're just not executing.
Yeah. They still finished in the second half 13th in baseball with runners in scoring position.
Yeah,
and we would never know it.
We were probably first place through
last year. I don't think we were
through the All-Star
through
break.
2023. I mean, first half, I think we were pretty bad in the first half.
Overall, because we were bitching about that. You're right.
Overall, we were 17th. So we were pretty bad in the first half. So we actually got better with runners in scoring position in the second half.
Yeah, because I remember we were all pretty frustrated. It's like, man, I feel like we get so many people on base, just can't get them around.
Yep.
Except for Adley there for a little bit.
The second best team in baseball, Kansas City Royals. 282 of runners in scoring position. And we saw it in the playoffs.
Yep.
They didn't have to hit it very far. You just got to find the hole.
That's what my wife says. I was looking at your stats today about the about first attack and first pitch.
Yeah, that shocked me.
I
didn't realize it was that good.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them definitely doubling down on that, but people are going to pick up on that pretty quickly. So I just hope they're willing to adjust pretty quickly, because once they figure it out, then it could go downhill pretty quick.
Oh, for sure.
And then people are going to start getting pissed that we're not working counts, not walking at all. I think beginning of last year is when we weren't walking at all either, and everyone was getting pissed off as well.
Yeah. I'm going to search first pitch by team. Baltimore was the fourth best team in baseball last year with a 355 average on the first pitch.
What about
The
second
only
half?
teams better. The only teams better were Boston, which is shocking.
Huh.
The
Yeah.
Marlins, which is shocking, and the Dodgers, which is not shocking.
I'm actually
Crazy. You want to hear the 5 worst teams in baseball on the first pitch? The White Sox, obviously. The Guardians, the Twins, the Tigers, and the Royals. All in the same damn division.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So
I mean,
league
that-
average was 333 on the first pitch, and the Orioles hit 355. I wonder if I can move that to runners in scoring position, because I know that's when a lot of people really complained.
Are you on Savant right now? Where are you pulling that?
Yeah.
I need to get better with how to pull some of this
Holy
stuff
shit,
on
Toronto
Savant.
hit 412 from the first pitch at runners in scoring position. All right, so Baltimore, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They ranked 10th, hitting 366 on the first pitch at runners in scoring position. That's crazy. And we thought, I remember you saying something about the second half. Game date.
I'm actually surprised that Houston's not higher. And the only reason I say that is because one of the Houston series and one of the Boston series that we didn't play well in, or maybe it stuck out to me because it was a burn start. It might have been the whole series where I was watching the games and I'm like, they are just ambushing first pitches on every single at
He
bat.
had to be tipping. I remember that. His exact start. Had to be tipping.
Like, and I don't know if it was just him. I feel like it was the whole series. I'm like,
Yeah.
how is the next guy not sitting there charting, looking at this?
So in the second half, we hit 347 on the first pitch of runners in scoring position. But that was like 20th in the league.
327, is that what you said?
347.
And that was 17th?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Philly hit 467 in the second half with runners in scoring position. Wow.
Oh, I forgot to hit the go live on Instagram. Oh, well.
Adit, I think so, man. I really do. And I looked at him last night and I asked the Orioles Twitter because his numbers don't jump off the charts whatsoever. But let me put it up real quick. He made a couple starts last year against the AL and did pretty damn good. Let me find out, where was it? Yeah, so, okay. He had 10 starts against the AL last year, had a 2.88 ERA with 17 walks to 66 strikeouts with a 3.58 xFIP. Now, it was like a 4.2 or something like that overall. So it's like, when you look at numbers like that, it screams Trevor Rogers again. And I think that scares a lot of people away because Trevor has the same kind of numbers. It was like a average 4 something against everyone, but he had like a very low 2, and I believe he might even been like a 1.9 against the AL over his like last 19 starts or something like that. And of course he came here and he sucked. And I think that would scare a lot of fans away. Mitch isn't bad. It's just, what Mitch are you going to get? 10 games is a small sample size. I just don't know. Is Mitch Keller better than Dean Kramer? Like when Dean's on, is Mitch Keller better? Is he better than Charlie Morton? Like that's what you kind of have to ask yourself. Like, do we want to just acquire another like mid 3, maybe like a top end 4?
Do you want to run the same guy out there 3 times?
Right. I mean,
now
if he was a lefty, then like, sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I can get some video.
Somebody got hurt. Like if Dean Kramer got hurt, then yeah, 100%. Like Mitch Keller would help this team.
I mean, I still think Dean just keeps making strides every year. I think Dean's going to make another stride again. I mean, he does
have to stay healthy.
Stuff.
Him and Grayson both always have the injury bug.
Wish I could. This is bugging me. I'm just gonna have to make you an admin next time so you can start sharing your screen and stuff. Or can you?
Yeah, I can. Two monitors. Yeah, I have the whole screen, so it wouldn't look right.
Share. I'm just watching some Mitch Keller stuff. It's getting smaller. All right. I'm just watching K's at the moment. That's pretty good looking. This pulls from any year, so
Yeah.
I mean that looked like a cutter.
That looked pretty nice.
That's a frisbee. That's a frisbee. We like that.
That's one of them ones though. When it doesn't bite, it gets hit a really long way.
Yeah, he's got to keep that low. He's got to start that at the bottom zone or do a back door like he did, or that right there. Looks like all his Ks are on that though.
Let me pull him back up.
There's a dick shot.
The only bad part is like if you could do the same thing there with Dean Kramer and it's going to show you all the highlights and he's going to look really good too.
Yeah, I like to see their out pitches and their arsenal a little bit, just to see how things are moving. So I at least have a good idea of like, all right, when pitches are going right, we're doing what he wants it to do. What's it look like? But yeah, I mean, stuff looks good. I like his
right-handed batters away from Pittsburgh. He's got a 6 ERA.
What?
And then a 5.10 ERA away from Pittsburgh against lefties. So away from Pittsburgh, he's got a 5.46 ERA. Ew. 16 starts, 15 home runs.
Yeah, I don't love a career 1.4 whip either.
No, even last year,
his walk percentage
away was 1.44 whip. He was a good guy coming up, but he was a guy that never really took the next step. This is one guy that I really want, and I feel like he could develop into a Grayson type. Is Jose Soriano. I'm willing to give up a lot for him. Maybe more than most. I probably shouldn't, but it's just how I am. But what I like about him is a 2.74 ERA on the road last year. But that guy's got some stuff. But like I said, he's going to cost a lot. I like looking at playoff teams. Like when I'm gauging somebody, so Soriano only made 3 starts against AL playoff teams last year, but he had 2.4 ERA with a 182 average, 4 walks to 13 Ks in 15 innings. That kind of stuff, small sample size, but I like seeing that. And he's young. Last year was his first full season in the big leagues, and he's still only 26. He's got an electric arm.
What? That ball is diving.
That looked like a...
That's 99 and dropping.
Yeah. What the hell is that? Like a 2-seam maybe?
Yeah. That was not
That was
good.
a frisbee that thought 99 was coming.
Yeah, get away with a lot. Now you can see how you can get away with a lot more when you're throwing 99.
Yeah. But he's a young kid, man. He came in the bullpen in 23 and pitched well. He started for the first time last year. Numbers aren't perfect, and I think he had like shoulder inflammation and they just shut him down in like August, but pretty much same thing we did with Grayson. You know, they're protecting their young guy.
Especially throwing that hard. He's what 97 is his 98 is his average velo. I mean,
Right.
Christ.
That's a guy that I would give up Kobe Mayo for probably.
And he's only played 2 seasons, and he's how old is he? 25.
I think he just turned 26. Yeah.
Yeah,
26,
it
3
says
months and 18
25 for the
days.
2024 season. Yeah.
Yeah. So he still has 2 options left, and he's not even a free agent until 2028. So he would cost a lot, but I'd give up Kobe Mayo for that.
Shit, I probably would too with the way that stuff looks. He's got what's his pitch rate? His sinker curve, 4-seam, split, slider. He's only throwing split and sliders 5 to 8% of the time.
Yeah.
So he's a sinker curveball guy.
Yep. And he's got bullpen experience if you need it. You know, it's just it's a guy that I like a lot.
I like it. It'd be hard to give up Mayo for that, but it's how many years does he have left? How many will we get with him? 2 or 3 more years?
3 this year. So yeah, 25, 26, 27, 28. So 4, technically 4.
Shit, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at some point we have to start. You have to think about like you're going to have to give up one of these. There's a log jam at this point.
And that's a next good topic here. What do you do with Kobe Mayo?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's like
can you send him back to Norfolk?
Oh shit! I almost dropped my camera. I think you have to. I don't think you have a choice. Do you?
I think you definitely have to.
I'd rather him get at bats. I mean, Westberg's going to take all the at bats.
I don't see him playing in the infield in this organization, maybe ever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him playing anywhere other than first base at this point after they moved him over there for a couple games last year.
Isn't that where you're moving Adley Rutschman or Samuel Basayo?
I agree. So I don't know.
Flip him for a top end arm.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that at all.
I'd love for him to figure it out. And
it'd be even nicer if he hits the ground running hot this year, and then we can be like, hey, he's figured it out. Who wants him?
Yeah.
But then Orioles fans would go berserk.
Well, I mean, if he starts out hot, you know, and then it does make other guys expendable. You know, I think Mountcastle's going to have a fantastic season. But if Mayo has game-changing power, if he can figure out first base, and even if it's like, obviously you're not going to be Ryan Mountcastle on par right now. If you're close-ish, if you're Ryan O'Hearn at this point, I'm okay with it. But if you're nowhere even close to Ryan O'Hearn, I'm not moving Mountcastle for that. I'm not giving up my defense. First base is a big deal. People don't realize it. Like
they make a lot of players look good. They make a lot of players look good.
Yeah, I mean, imagine, you know, second and third, and Gunnar bounces one. Mountcastle 9 out of 10 times picks it, and the inning's over. If Mayo doesn't, okay, now a run scores, and next pitch could be a home run. Now you got a 3-run home run instead of being out of the inning with no runs. Like, first base is a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't realize I'm a big Mountcastle guy this year, and I'll pull his numbers up for you. He's gotten better. I mean, every single season.
It's hard to even judge it at this point because he just totally changed up his swing and approach based on what they did with the outfield. Yeah, and I don't blame him because, can he still hit the ball over the fence over there? Yes, but I mean, I'm sure he's sitting there like, I don't want to have to hit every ball, barrel up, get everything of every single home run that I hit over there. It's nice to hit one that I didn't get and have it go out.
When did they move the wall? Was it 2022?
I think it was before then.
Was it?
I could be wrong though.
Before the 22. Okay. So in 2022, his average dropped a little bit. Home runs went down 11. RBIs went down just 4. Played 140 games each there. So his last 2 seasons, he's dealt with the injury bug. I get it. 23, he hit 18 home runs, but then his average went up 20 points to 270. In 24, he hit 271 last year again. Only pitched 124 games or played 124 games. Hit 5 less home runs again. But where was it? Oppo contact. 2021, 28%. 2022, 30%. 2023, 32%. 2024, 34%. So he started going the other way.
Interesting. I thought it would be way higher than that.
Right. But because of that, 2021, 256 with runners in scoring position. 2022, 243. Starts going the other way, 298 in 2023, 288 in 2024. So now you're becoming a more complete hitter, hitting the ball all over, driving runners in, and now the wall moves back in and you're allowed to kind of start swinging for power again. Like, we might have just created a very complete hitter. We might have, I'm going to make a very stupid comment, but I'm going to make it anyway. We might have created a Walmart Vlad Guerrero.
Well, now he gets to sit there and try and drop and drive on some of those inside pitches.
Right. How many times did we see him fist the ball in the inside corner down the right field line to score a run?
Yep. I mean, he's literally
soft contact.
He's trying to keep the ball below a certain launch angle. He's not dropping at all, which is fine.
Yep.
But I like seeing him just have at it sometimes.
Yeah.
Just ambush something on the inside corner, but nobody throws him on the inside corner as much as if I remember correctly.
I wouldn't.
I mean, you have to at some point with everybody, but.
And I know a lot of people complained about him striking out. Look, his at-bats in the playoffs were abysmal looking. I feel like the whole teams were.
Yeah.
But with runners in scoring position, 21, he struck out 42 times, 22, 39, 23, just 22, and last year, 28. So he brought it down, and the average went up. You know, the grounding into double plays went down every single year. Sacrifices have been the same. So you're making a more complete hitter here, in my opinion.
Something else for the last, I mean, I guess we'll see this year. Hindsight will be 2020, but I hope you're right. I could see. I mean, we'll have to see how he's actually going to start approaching these at bats and swinging at certain pitches.
Yeah.
But something I just thought of for everybody was talking approach last year. Like, why are we doing this and that? Why are we just letting balls pass by that are here? Because we're obviously, whatever our game plan was, like the Royals in Texas had to know exactly what we were doing, and they were just attacking, which I don't know if you're watching the show and you're kind of more of a casual fan, we fired all of our hitting coaches.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that had something to do with it now that I'm thinking about it. If they literally looked back on these 2 playoffs and were like, what were you guys doing with the approach for these hitters? Because they just diced you guys.
Yeah, and they flat out said, we're not changing our organizational philosophy, even with new coaching, which I think is fine. I think the philosophy was fine because they showed it in all of 23 in the first half of 24. They could hit. We know they can hit. We know they like to hit the first pitch. All the numbers support everything that they were doing. It was just didn't work out in the second half. So we thought. I mean, the numbers show something different, but
yeah, but not only that, it's like, and I need to go back and watch. I actually should go back and watch some of these games. I felt like we were just spitting on pitches on the inside corner and just dead red on the outside.
Yeah.
That's something that needs to be figured out after like game 2. And you're like, hey, they're bringing everything in and we're not, like, we're just giving them strikes.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that's something that played into the firing where adjustments during a series like that weren't made or seen. So,
and it could be, look, so before every game, you typically meet, you you go in and they present you with, basically the same stats that I look at. Like, this is how he attacks you in this account. If you're a left-handed hitter in an 0-2 count, you probably can eliminate the slider, it's just stuff like that. It goes through. So everybody pretty much has an idea of what to look for when you go to the plate. And I really think that it's really overlooked. You have a Hall of Fame catcher sitting back there last year. And he's not an idiot. And I think he probably looked at the same damn numbers and he walked into Cole Reagans and was like, we got to switch it up. Like, I didn't realize that we've been throwing a curveball 46% of the time in an 0-2 count kind of thing. Like, to a righty, we got to switch it up. And I don't think the Orioles were ready.
Yeah. I mean, that's thinking ahead. It's like watching the Greg Maddux documentary a year ago or whenever I watched it. He flat out said, like, I'm never throwing whatever it was, a fastball here or whatever. And he shakes off his catcher one time and he throws it there and he's like, all right, he's going to be pissed because he told me never to let him throw it there. And he gives up a home run. And he's like, why did you do that? You told me not to let you do that. And he goes, he's going to remember that. And when we play them in the playoffs, he's going to remember that.
I do remember that quote.
Yeah. And I can't remember what the situation was or how he played it out, but he did it in a sense where, like, hey, next time this happens, he's going to be looking for it, and I'm not going to do it. So it's thinking one step ahead. So I mean, that's a great call by you. Like, you have one of the best defensive catchers back there that we've seen in the last 20 years.
Yep.
That's played against
for a while.
Yeah, he's been around the block. He knows a whole lot more than us two. So that's a good call. I didn't think about that. Definitely something our coaches need to think about at times, but we shall see.
Yeah.
Where's Bregman going? Is he going back?
Dude, I don't even know. With his contract demands, I hope he don't even sign. You can't keep sitting here and asking for 6-7 years. Like, your stats just don't warrant it. Just take the 2-3-year deal, man.
I don't think he's going to have a choice here soon because you see what happened to Alonso. I think he just outweighted the whole thing, and now he's got no leverage because nobody needed him besides the Mets to bring him back. They were just like, all right,
it was
cool.
just it's ugly. It's definitely ugly.
This is funny.
Am I like glitchy for you?
You're definitely not as smooth. That's for sure.
That's weird.
Is that the autofocus movement on you?
Yeah, because I have that product showcase thing on. So if you get close to it.
Oh, yeah, I turned that off. Just because I couldn't get it.
Spring training division winner picks.
Ooh, let's do it.
Let me make sure I remember who's all.
Or maybe we should. I mean, we can do it now, but we should definitely do another one right before the season starts because with injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
Potential trades.
So I'll say the Yankees will win the East by a game or two with 96 wins. I'm going to go with Detroit to win the Central at 91 wins. I'm going to take the Rangers to win the West at 98 wins. 20 games above what they did last year, I know. I'm going to take the Phillies to win the East at 96. I'll take the Brewers again at 89.
That division just stumps me every year.
Yeah. And then I'll take the Dodgers to win the division at 99 games. Again, for the second year in a row, we don't have a 100-game winner.
All right. I'm going to go. I mean, I got to go with New York because they loaded up on some pitching. I'm not going to give wins here because I'm not 100% sure where I want to go with some of these. Central, I don't think I think the Royals are going to be another wild card team.
I think Detroit's too good right now.
I think Cleveland takes a step back. So I think you're right. I think Detroit wins that. I don't think Cleveland wins this division next year. I think it's either the Royals or the Tigers.
Did Cleveland sign anybody?
Nah. Not much, dude. I don't know what they were doing. They barely did anything this offseason too. They traded for Spencer Horowitz and traded him off to Pittsburgh within like a day or the same day. He was like 6th in Rookie of the Year voting from Toronto.
Looks like they signed Paul Sewald.
Yeah. That's it. I say that, but people probably look at the Orioles and they're like, yeah, they didn't do much. But
they did re-sign Carlos Santana. That helps. They traded Josh Naylor for some pitcher. They did re-sign Shane Bieber. He is healthy. That does help.
Yeah, he didn't pitch at all last year.
They traded one of their better hitters for Spencer, like you were saying. But didn't they flip Spencer?
Yeah, Spencer came from the White Sox, and they traded him like the same day or the next
day. For Luis
day.
Ortiz, yeah.
Yep.
So their starting rotation is going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, with Bieber there, I think I forget that Bieber wasn't there last year, and they still won 92.
Yeah, he pitched like 2 games. So their starting rotation got better. They already have a good bullpen. Their offense got even worse. And they were already a bottom 5 offense in the league.
With one of the best hitters in the league.
Yeah, and now he's gone.
Oh, Jose Ramirez is there.
Oh, I was thinking of Naylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Jose. And
that's him too.
And then you lost Jimenez. So you lost Jimenez and Naylor, who's also your second baseman and your first baseman. And you re-signed it with a 40-year-old Carlos Santana. Granted, Carlos Santana can still hit, but still.
Yeah, I was going to say he's old as. Who did you say wins the AL West?
Texas. I think Texas is the best team in
AL. Yeah, because you're yeah.
I'm a big Jock Pederson guy. I think 1 through 9, that lineup is just nasty.
Yeah, I mean their issues staying healthy.
Yeah, but now you get
like I want to pick Seattle. I want to pick Seattle, but
what have they done? They have no offense again.
They always let you down.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me Texas because Houston. I know they've been there, done that.
They haven't done a whole lot this
offseason. Kyle Tucker's gone. My boy McCormick will hopefully get some more playing time out of that. He signed his ARB deal. Yeah, I gotta go Texas too. I think you're right. As long as they stay healthy. Atlanta or the Phillies. I still don't think the Mets are gonna contend with those two teams, to be honest.
Atlanta's gonna be good.
I guess it just depends on when their guys come. Strider is definitely ready to go, I believe.
Yeah.
And Acuna is, I don't know where he's at on his timeline.
Right.
Give me the Braves.
Over the Phillies.
Yeah. I know. And they got rid of Freed. I mean, they're going to beat each other up. I don't know who's going to win. It's going to be between the two of them.
Completely agree.
Give me the Cubs in the Central because they kind of surprised me last year. I always want to say the Reds are going to come out and play like I think they should play, but they never do.
No, they don't.
I don't know how the Brewers keep winning this division, but they do. But give me the Cubs. I think they take the next step. They got some guys coming in. And, yeah, can't pick against the Dodgers. So,
yep.
They've got an all-star squad.
It'd be pretty foolish to pick against the Dodgers.
Yeah, I'd rather lose picking them than not pick them and watch them run
Right.
away by 10 games.
Yep.
We talked about this a little bit. Great defensively, great arm, and sneaky good bat. That when he's right, if he plays if he plays really well, like his old self, I think I said that I could see him personally. I don't know. Zach might not agree with me. I could see him taking Mullins' everyday job, or
could too.
moving Cowser to center and having him at one of the corners. I don't know how they want to play that game.
Yeah, he's played a lot in his career in center. Last year was the first time he's ever really stepped foot in left field. He's basically been center and right field. But he plays all three, and he hits lefties extremely well. He's gonna push somebody out against a left-handed pitcher. I can about promise you that. And I mean, and Mullins had a good second half last year against lefties, but do you trust it for a full season?
Yeah, he's got to take a big step forward to keep it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and Cowser was okay. I think having both of them in there definitely wasn't good. Now you get to play your hot hand, with having Tyler play probably right field, Ramon and left, or vice versa, whatever. And then having, if Mullins is hot, had a couple good at bats versus lefties, he plays it, and if not, Ramon does it. Late in the game against a really tough lefty, maybe Ramon pinch hits for Cowser.
What about Carlson?
I think he's going to get 200 to 250, maybe. I might even say he might even get 300 at bats this year. He's going to play a good bit, in my opinion.
And I mean, Carlson too.
Yeah,
he's going to be more of a defensive replacement, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I think whoever wins that spot in spring training.
Carlson might not make this roster.
Right.
And he's the same age as Mullins. He's older than Mullins by a couple months, but
Carlson
not
three
Carlson.
Options left though.
Not Carlson. Ramon is a couple months older than Cedric.
Yeah. So Ramon has no options left. Carlson has 3. So that's going to play.
Yeah. Heston, you need to come in and hit some bombs, dude.
Yeah. I know everybody's kind of ready to move on from Heston. I like him. I think he's going to have a great season. I don't know if that's going to be here or not. Wherever he goes, he's going to have a great season. I just think it all comes down to defense.
Yeah, that's literally where they're at right now. I want him to be. It'd be great to have him as a DH, but we already have a DH. I mean,
right.
It's just, yeah, it makes the most sense, especially for the value he would bring back in return. Which
the problem is his age. They can't keep waiting. Guy's turned 27 this year.
Yeah, I mean, he was ready to go last year, man. He just the injuries, which weren't really his fault, getting hit in the head, and that just kept lingering.
Yeah, that's a guy that hasn't been able to. He's had
bad luck, man.
Bad luck, yeah, bad luck, and it sucks.
It does. Damn, Westberg was born in '99 too.
Does that fix it? Maybe a little bit. Nope, still. That's weird how it's doing that.
You think it's a software or a camera?
I don't know. Because we're running the same shit.
I know. Wait, are you running a 4K cord?
Yeah, actually an 8K. Let's see if I switch it out.
But I did.
That's better. It just doesn't look as good if I move it to the Elgato virtual camera. That's
so weird. I don't have mine on 4K resolution though. I have it on full def. So I wonder if that's
why. I'm running on 4K.
Yeah. I ran the whole stream on 4K the other day, and everybody that was not me or one of the other guys was pretty behind, like they're talking in their mouth and everything. So
Yep.
I don't think I'm gonna do it anymore. Fan base wants to see Mayo and Krstic get a chance to see what they can do. I agree. They're both going to be on the team. Well, we were just talking. We're not sure what's going to happen with Mayo. There's not really a spot. So Kerstad's certainly going to get his at bats. He's going to get a chance. Mayo's going to have to hit the ground running in spring training to stay on the roster and get the at bats. Because if the other guys, there you go.
That's 1080. 1080 don't look too bad.
If the other, because if he doesn't hit the ground running, the other guys are flat out just better than him at this point. Defensively, he's a liability. You say you can throw him at first, but it's.
I don't think you can even do that.
You can hide him there for a little while, but when there's a pivotal play where, like, say Gunner's diving for a ball in the hole and he needs a pick, I don't think you want him to be the one doing it.
If we weren't a team with high expectations, you could do it.
Yeah, you could mess around a little bit. But
yeah. I think we're past that point, though.
Mateo, man. You think Mateo gets cut before opening day?
I think they try to move him. I just don't see any value. And not that he's a bad player. It's just, like we talked about, they don't run. And that is his value. And if you're not using his value, what's the point in keeping him?
Well, I guess let's play devil's advocate. If they decide they're going to start running again this year, then do you think they keep him? Okay. Yeah. Because I think they should. I think they should start running again.
100%. Jackson Holiday should have near 50 stolen bases this year if he gets on.
Gunner should have 40. But again, we talked about this, and I don't disagree with what the organization or Hyde did. They said, we think, this is our opinion, that they basically said, hey, we're going to stop stealing because we literally can't. I need you on the field, not stealing base. I'd rather have you playing and on the field than stealing bases.
Yeah.
Because we don't really have much more to grasp at this point. So
that's
understandable.
Very true, Daniel. Very true. But look, I've said this 1,000 times. Ramon Urias has a place in this league. He has a place on this team. He's a place in this league. And if it's not here, he will get scooped up look, if we cut him right now, he'd be the starting third baseman for the New York Yankees right now because they don't have anybody. And, if what's it called? Trades are not Arnado. I don't even know how to say his last name. St. Louis. He could go there. We could ship him there in a Sonny Gray deal, and he would be a 260 hitter there as an everyday player. He's a very good player. He's a reverse splits guy, which is really weird, but it helps him because he doesn't have to play that. But he also hits lefties too. But he's a guy that would start for a lot of teams. A lot of teams.
Is he a guy you think gets exposed if he plays too much?
Last year it seemed that way. We know the glove's good. I just feel like sometimes he got a little unsure of himself, and he legitimately jumped out of the way a couple times. It could have been maybe just bad vision off the bat. We didn't see that the couple years prior, so I don't know. I don't think so because he still made some pretty decent plays too.
Yeah, I was impressed about how well he played first too. I mean, and going back to Mayo, I'd rather have Urias playing first, picking balls over there than Mayo.
He's a pro's pro.
Yeah.
He does everything good.
He's just not
nothing
fast.
Great.
That's about it. I mean, that's really the con that you're gonna. You can't. He's not fast. He's not gonna play outfield. But
yeah,
you have to throw him out there. I guess you could, but wouldn't be your ideal situation.
Yep.
Other than that, well, I mean, we could have our own podcast on Gunner, Holiday, Westy, like the main guys, which maybe we'll do that next time if nothing happens.
Yeah.
Kind of running through their stuff, but we kind of were going into a lot of the guys that we added and other guys that were added around the league. Thoughts on the pitching staff, thoughts on the tribe that we have out in the outfield right now. So who's going game 1 in the ALCS? This is a good
Grayson.
As of right now, yeah. I mean, if Grayson lives
they
up,
acquire somebody,
and that somebody better be really freaking good, because I expect Grayson to have a really good year this year. The stuff is too good for him not to.
I agree. I agree. The only move they should make at this point is somebody that's better than Eflin.
Yeah, I agree with that. Call me crazy here, and I probably should actually do some side by sides here a little bit more. Grayson stuffs is better than Burns, flat out. It's just Burns knows how to pitch a lot better.
Burns
and
locates a little bit
better, but he wasn't doing that. Wow,
not in August.
He wasn't doing that in August, and he was leaving some of these. I don't know. His cutter was not what it usually is in August. I don't know what was going on there. Something he was messing with something. And I remember
he's gotten better every year. I would say his track record definitely shows it. Now, granted, he struggled a little bit against like the Yankees and stuff, but I mean, he's your first round pick. He's your guy. You drafted him for this. He's still young. He's still got 5 more years control. He's a free agent in 2030. So 5 more years control. Like, this is his team, and it's his until it's not. So I wouldn't take him out of it unless he just gets completely blown up. But he's, it's his team. Give him the experience.
I mean, even if they bring in a Cesar King, it's still his team.
For sure.
I don't think that they concede that. I think they say, Grayson, go take it.
Yep.
So
I don't think Dylan Cease is. Look, he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. He's not great.
He don't pitch well against good teams.
He doesn't, and that's my biggest knock on him. Now, King did pitch well against good teams last year, but that was the first year that he's ever started. They've had a whole offseason now to dissect how he does things. He could come out and get shit on all year. Who really knows? Now, he pitched pretty decent in New York. He did get blown up a little bit before he got traded. Things happen. Grayson has shown the 2 years that he's been in the league, he's gotten better at every single stat category. It's not jumping off the charts, but if you get better, if you keep following that same thing, the guy went 13 games last year and 20 starts. He finished top 20 in the league in wins and didn't even pitch 13 other starts compared to everybody else on the list.
Yeah, and he's still learning how to pitch, which is I think he probably learned a lot from Gibby. I hope he learned a lot from Burns. That's kind of why we both talked about we'd love to see Scherzer come in here and just grab him and take him under his wing.
Is Scherzer that guy?
See, I don't know. I haven't paid much attention to him like in the dugout.
Charlie's that guy.
Yeah. I don't know that either. So I'm not 100% sure if he's that guy.
I mean, that's just what Atlanta fans say, that he was all about it.
Yeah. I mean, and for everything that he said, like he was done playing, like he wasn't going to play this year. And then the Orioles make an offer and he's like, oh shit, this is a great situation to go into. But I mean, at the same time, did Atlanta just say, hey, we're not signing a 40-year-old pitcher? Because I can't believe they didn't go back and make him an offer.
Excuse me. I think they have.
They got somebody.
They have more than 5.
Do they, with Fried being gone?
I think so. They had a couple young guys.
Okay. See, I'm not 100% sure what their rotation looks like right now.
Let me check their depth chart real quick. They got Chris Sale, Lopez, Swallenbach, Holmes, and then Strider comes back. And they still have Ann Anderson, the young kid, Smith Schwaryer, and then Bryce Elder. Elder's a little bit older. But yeah. And I think they're still looking to make a move too, because I know they've been in all the King and Cease talks too.
I mean, you can say this all you want. You got to get to the World Series first. And these are
1,000%. I would
these are
1,000% would throw him in Game 3.
These are guys that get you to that point, or at least into the playoffs. He's gonna eat innings. He's gonna get outs. But it's not. I mean, do I trust him going out every single big time? I feel like every single time I see Charlie Morton in a playoff game, he's just dominating. So
He doms everybody.
it's
Yeah.
just
Some guys, when the lights turn up brightest,
playoff guy, dude.
yeah. And that's what you saw in 2023 at Grayson.
Throws his curveball 70% of the time, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
But you know what? When it gets cold out, that plays because you can't hit it as far.
What would be, Brendan? What would be going for it? We're obsessed with being good, but not going for it.
Going forward for me would be like signing Bregman and going and getting Cease and blowing up everything we've been building for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
I think Bradfield impresses. I don't think he has a chance to make the team just because he only played a little bit at Bowie. He impressed in Bowie, but I think he
doesn't hit enough to make the team yet.
Yeah, he's got to show a little bit more at the AAA level this year. The Orioles are different. A lot of teams will go directly from AA right to the big leagues. The Orioles don't, and
that could change. But at the moment,
the reason why I don't like it, it's harder to hit in Bowie. So when you got a guy who hits in Bowie, you know you got a good one. When you go to Norfolk, it's right there on the river. The ball flies out of there. So everybody thinks that we're getting these fantastic freaking hitters. And they get here and they suck. It's a big difference from hitting in Norfolk than hitting in Baltimore. Big, big difference. It's like almost hitting in Colorado and then coming back here. It's not obviously that bad, but the inflated stats that you get in Norfolk, just because of the league that it is and where you're at on the river, it's very difficult to come here and do that. And some teams just go straight from AA, and I would like to see Bowie do it. Just go straight from Bowie. I mean, if you got a guy that's a stud, like Gunnar Henderson should never played in Norfolk, in my opinion. Should have came straight here, but what they're doing is working, so don't listen to me either.
And maybe it's I don't know if it's the old adage or not, and I don't know if this still plays or not, but it's always like the AAA guys actually have some idea where the ball is going, whereas AA has better stuff and doesn't know where it's going.
I think that used to be the case, but nowadays
that's what I mean.
It's like
that's what I mean.
If you're halfway decent, you're not there anymore.
Yeah.
It's probably
so
AAA now.
It's probably more the single A rookie ball guys now that are that. But I haven't been to enough minor league games here in the past 5 years, 10 years to even know.
It's just been the big shift with the injuries now. Yeah, if you're a halfway even decent lefty, like you're not even in AAA ever. So it's like, because that was the big stink with Holiday and Mayo last year. Is they didn't have enough at bats. Like when you go and look at it, like Mayo had like 100 at bats all year against lefties. Like you barely saw them.
Yeah, I think they were saying last year there was a uncanny amount of like lefties that were injured, bullpen and starters, that the AAA guys that should be in AAA were playing up. Whether that's true or not, I didn't go back and look at everybody's rotations and every single lefty out there, but I could see that. I mean, it's an argument for sure.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of all the 1-year signings?
They don't bother me.
No, I mean, these aren't going to be.
It's just baseball, man. Roster turnovers just like the NFL.
Like anything.
I mean, look, they tried to give Hoffman a 3-year deal.
Yeah, tried to.
They still tried. They tried to go less money on it after they found the issue, and he turned it down. I mean, they still were going to give him a 3-year deal.
O'Neill,
they saw out of him.
Yeah, O'Neill's a 3-year deal. Who else is a multi-year deal? That might be it.
I think nowadays with the agents, though, I think the agents are pushing more Because remember a couple of years ago, everyone wanted a multi-year deal for the security. But now it's like the agents were like, well, I want my opt-out after year one because, hey, we got a chance to get more money next year. And of course, the agents are going to push for it because every single time you sign the dotted line, he gets paid. If you sign a 3-year deal, he only gets paid once. But if
not only that, it's better. Like it's if he has a great year and has an opt-out year after year one and has a 3-year deal, he can sit there and be like, all right, I just had a stud year. I know I can go on the market, test the market now and make more.
And you're also going to get more out of the player. You're not going to get a content guy. You're going to get a guy who's hungry because he wants more money.
Sales, baby.
Yeah.
Gotta put that carrot out there. Is it a move to free us to extend? I don't think Gunnar gets extended. Adley will be extended here probably within the year. If they could even announce it before spring training. I think Zach and I talked privately about that a little bit.
I like Daniel's comment. I don't know if they want to get rid of Creed. I think they really like Creed behind the plate. And if Adley moving to first base long term is it, like Creed's your number 2. That's another good hitting catcher. The kid can hit. He can flat out hit. He's got a good arm. He's good trade bait if they want him to be. I don't think they want him to be.
Yeah. I don't know where they want to go with this, especially if Adley gets extended. That ends up coming to fruition. Then you got 2 other stud catchers down there that you're either going to have to figure out where they're going to play or where they're going to go. Obviously, one of them is going to have to.
Yeah.
Or, I guess you could sit here and say that, but then Adley could be the one to get traded. Who knows?
Basayo's 20, right? Or 21 now?
I don't think he's 21.
So then Creed's 21 then. Because I think Creed's just 1 year older. I believe. He's 21, yeah. In June, he's turning 22. And it's around the same time Basayo would turn 21. But yeah, even if Adley signs a long-term deal, like he's going to move to first base. They're going to take the bat. Basayo's a better defensive catcher than Adley. So Basayo will be your starter, but then you'd have another left-handed hitting catcher at Creed. And I don't think that plays in what the organization wants long-term.
Yeah, and when we get back to Gunnar too, I just at this point in time, why would Gunnar sign an extension? I wouldn't. I don't think he should. I think that'd be stupid.
I wish he would, but it would be stupid.
I wish he would. Yeah, there's no reason.
I'd still offer him $575 right now. Make it where he cannot turn it down.
Who knows that? Who knows if we have or we haven't? Just because we don't hear, and I don't think Gunnar's gone per se, like you said, Brennan. But we have what, 4 or 5 years? Do we need to think about that? 4 years, technically, if we really want to. What was the where's the RB years I had up?
I don't think Seattle needs him, Joe. Not with Cal Raleigh.
Gunner's not a free agent until 2029, so we got.
You got 25, Adley at 8, Gunnar at 9, and I think Grayson's in 30.
30, yeah.
Mountcastle's the first one in 2027. I know that.
Yeah, because we were.
I don't think so. You'll never see a contract over $600 million again, in my opinion. Not with the CBA coming in 2027. The owners are they're already meeting in Florida right now this week about a salary cap.
Yeah, salary cap and a salary cap
floor
bottom as well, which will be
get
nice.
More guys paid. Adley contract prediction. I am in the
Adley 10 years. No way. I don't think that's right.
I don't think Adley ever signs an extension here. I'm in the minority saying that, especially in Birdland. I'm okay with saying it. I don't think he ever signs one here. I think he walks in free agency.
Adley?
Yeah.
So
it all depends on how he keeps going. If he keeps defensively getting worse every year behind the plate,
Brennan, we
Then
had
they
some
move him to
we had
first.
some inside knowledge from a couple people that this was coming, but it hasn't been released yet. So we're kind of getting the sense now that it potentially could have fallen through. But I still think it's probably going to happen. And we had a good idea for numbers as well, but I think that's not true either. I'm not even going to throw any of that stuff. I'm not here to break news, but
I heard about it.
yeah,
I talked to some people about it. It I don't know if it fell through. I didn't hear that it fell through, but
I haven't
we
either. But we haven't heard about it in the
expected to be
timeline
announced
that
by
we.
now.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I think when they look at it, like he's going to be 30 when his contract's up. But look, if they lied to us all offseason that he wasn't hurt, I think they let this all play out. If he actually was hurt, I think they know it and they'll extend him because he was a 295 hitter prior to whatever happened.
he's not going to be any cheaper than he is right now.
No. I think he's better than the Will Smith contract, which was what, 10 for 140. I could see 10 for 150. They'll beat it, but not much. He hasn't hit for 300 or anything like that. But he's better than Will Smith, I think. I'm going to pull that up real quick, just so I don't look like an idiot.
I don't think he gets 10 years.
It really depends. I need to put both on here. Too many damn Will Smiths.
Yeah, right.
No, that's the right one. Let me pull it up.
I'm still
I
interested.
think Will Smith has more power, if I remember right. Brutcham came out, 22?
Yes.
All right, let's do career. Will Smith's a 256 hitter with 63 home runs since 2022. He has played 25 less games than Adley. Adley has 16 more doubles, only 52 home runs, 17 less RBIs, 145 more walks, the same amount of Ks, and hits 261. Adley has a better slugging, a better OPS, a better BPAP, and they are tied basically at a WRC plus. I'm sorry, they switched it on me. Adley is better on the WRC plus by 1. Slightly lower OPS, slightly lower slugging, better OBP, and a slightly lower hard hit rate. And I think a lot of that was last year.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
But the 10 for 140, and I made a video about it earlier last year. I think that one's consistent with what he would get. I don't see him getting anything over about 16 a year. I think that's a lot for a catcher. Now, if he comes back this year and hits 290, 28, 29 home runs, 90 RBIs, he can be looking at 16, 17 a year.
Yeah, Daniel, we think this is, if you're going to do it, now's the time. I mean, it's not going to get any cheaper than it is now. He'll be healthy this year. Hopefully he'll have his.
I don't remember.
Here I have it up. If I can find his name, Wasserman.
Dan Vertlieb at Wasserman.
You were a Wasserman guy, right? Who were you with?
No, I was Beverly Hills Sports Council.
Oh, I don't know why I thought you were a Wasserman.
Local guy, Jay Watassic got me in there.
Jay Watassic.
Remember him?
Oh, yeah. He's a crazy son bitch. Nasty, though.
Huh?
He was still nasty when I was playing against him in the Susky League like 10 years ago, and he was like 40 years old.
Man.
He was still pumping it up to 93.
Yep. Oh, man. All right, I'm getting tired. I gotta
Me
pee.
too. All right, time to get this went longer than we thought.
For sure. It always does.
Yeah, it really does. We always find ourselves going down rabbit holes. I'm still wondering who this Brooks Krisky guy that's on my Baltimore salary list here. I'll figure that out later. It's bothering me. Yeah, British Raven. We're tired over here. It's almost 11 o'clock, and my kid has not been sleeping well the last couple of nights. So
Really?
yeah, yeah, nightmares.
Oh yeah.
Nightmares the last couple of nights. So I'm hoping tonight will be a full 8 hours, 10 hours through. That'd be great.
I've got one that goes to bed like real late, and then she'll sleep like real late in the morning. And then I've got one that goes to bed when we put him to bed, and then he gets up at like 5. So like I go downstairs, I'm just like barely making it through the dark, turning my coffee on, and then I see this little like iPad in the corner. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I'm playing game. I'm like, dude, it's 4:30. Yeah, I'm good. Go back to bed. No, I'm good. Okay.
Like I'd rather him go to bed at like 7:30 and wake up at 4:30. Like I'm more of an early person than a late person. Like this is I'm in bed.
Afraid to miss
9.
something.
I'm in bed by 9 usually.
Yeah.
So this is late for me. I'm going to bed. Luckily, my wife is off tomorrow, so she's on baby duty tonight. So
Nice.
Brendan, thanks for the questions. Again, we are going to do this once a week. I don't know what day or time yet. We're still kind of discussing that, but this was kind of our kickoff just to let you guys know that we're going to try to start doing this. Especially
y'all stopping out with us.
I have a lot more to talk about during the season. So see you, boys.
See y'all later.